Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Today, brothers and sisters, we're continuing again with chapter 25, Al Furqan. We stopped yesterday at the repentance, turning back to Allah. If somebody committed any of the major sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's doors are still open with His mercy. But the person has to come and ask Allah for forgiveness. Say, I'm sorry of what I have done. Then he changed himself. He changed his action. He's committed to Allah by not doing these wrong actions he used to do in the past, and change himself, put himself back on track. But if the person say, oh, I'm sorry today, and tomorrow is doing the same thing, or next week is doing the same thing, what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept his repentance. So the thing has to come from the heart. The person is committed, and the person is willing, and the person change. And that's why a lot of times, to change yourself, you have to change the people surrounding you, the people around you, the friends around you, sometimes the family around you. If they pushing you, or they asking you, or they have a bad influence on you for doing bad things, for doing bad actions, which Allah doesn't like. So having that kind of, so take all the reasons. Sometimes it's not the person himself, sometimes the environment around him. Change the environment. This is all, you cannot be working. For example, you say, oh, I'm going to change. I was doing this and this and this. Okay, one of these major, whatever. Then you're still working in a nightclub, for example. What will happen? Okay, after the first day, oh yeah, I'm not going to look, or I'm not going to participate, or I'm not going to. But you're already in the environment where sins are committed. It would be easy for you to fall back. So that's how a person should do. Change to help himself. Of course, it has to come from inside. And to help himself, he has to change what's around you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that those who's going to change is do better and do the right actions, He will accept their deeds. He will accept their repentance. And He will exchange those bad deeds with good deeds. So it's like a bonus for a person. But that's need strength, need planning. If I'm on my phone and watching something, I try to connect. I have an account somewhere where that account I participate in chats or whatever. Just close the account. If I'm watching my phones or doing thing or anything, I do something, I just limit my access to my phone. That's exactly how you do things. You have to put some enforcement on yourself. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turn after this of one of the characteristics of those who are the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, slaves of the Rahman, الَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورِ. They don't witness any falsehood. They don't witness any lies. They don't witness any manipulation of the truth. They stand up once they see things are committed which are false. So the word zur is something being manipulated, something being changed. It's like lies being spread. So one of their job is to stand up protest, vote to the candidate who is honest, who is sincere, who's righteous. Of course, assuming there is such a candidate. But on one hand, he cannot witness lies, the believer. So what that's telling us? Tell us you cannot even witness it. So a believer cannot even commit any lies. Cannot lie to somebody. Cannot manipulate in paperwork. Cannot change in his applications, whatever these applications are for. Cannot change his income in applications. Cannot change so many things. All of this is called, in Arabic, called tadwir, which zur, which means false. Cannot do anything. That's involved any fraud. So changing the truth. So you cannot witness it or commit. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. وَإِذَا مَرَّوْا بِاللَّغْوِ. If they pass through useless talk. That useless talk over there, at that time they were passing by, people gather here and there. But now all the useless talk is where? On our cell phones, or on these websites, or on Snapchat or Facebook, or name it. All kind of social TikTok, whatever. All that useless talk. Do you stay engaged on these useless talk? Watching a model, or watching a celebrity, or watching this and watching this, talking nonsense? Making useless, either backbiting, either talking, in a language which nobody like, which is very common nowadays. Obscenity is all over the places, all over the internet, and people are listening to it and feel amused by it. So obscenity, vulgar language, all that stuff, a believer should be away from it. In a decent, if you are in a gathering and people starting to talk or engage in useless talk, backbiting, lies, whatever, bragging. This guy brags about his car. This guy is bragging about his house. This guy is bragging about, there is nothing which is, it helps nobody. It just creates animosity, create jealousy, and create envy. So the person has to take himself away. Kiraman means in a dignified way. Sorry, thank you very much for an invitation. Yes, I just have to leave. I have to go. I have to go to my work early tomorrow morning. I have to wake up for the Fajr Salah. I have to go for Isha Salah. In dignified way, the believer has to. But engaging with that kind of behavior, it will destroy the iman, the belief of the believer. All these things Allah is mentioning because it destroys iman. That's why the believer has to be away from those things. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا صُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. anything you see, anything comes across your ears, across your eyes, it's a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an ayah, it's a sign. Once, for example, you go to work in the morning, you see a car accident, you see blood in the car, airbag exploded, big collision. Each one have passed through the accident. That's a sign and a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to each one of this, that death is close to you. You could be that one in that car. You could be the one who died or injured. Are you ready? It's a reminder. Are you ready for that moment when you will meet the Lord, the King of the heaven and the earth, who will hold you, and hold each one of us responsible about his actions? That's the question. So everything comes to you is a message. So the sun in the morning, the moon, the rain, everything Allah have provided us with, your eyes, your ears, all these things to be able to recognize Allah and obey Him. So when you see any of the signs or any of the message, even in your lecture or in Islamic or any listening to a sermon or whatever, are you paying heed? It's a message coming. Are you going to be listening to it? Are you envision this message? You'll try to do and obey this advice, or you're going to be blind, like a blind or like a deaf. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to the believers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Oh Allah, those people who sees that their kids, their offspring, their family is an investment for them in the hereafter. They didn't die. They have a progeny going on. Same dua, same supplication. Who made? Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim, he asked Allah to make from his nation, from his progeny, those who will obey Allah, those who will be messengers, devoted to Allah. So the believer is invested in his kids. That means you have to pay attention what they watch, what they see, how you even interact with them, how you act in front of them. Are you the one who go and pray? If they see you go pray, they will pray. Do you read Quran? If you read Quran, they will read Quran. They are a big investment. So you want those kids to be a reason for increase of your deeds, good deeds, rather than being an increase of your bad deeds. Because you're the one who brought them. You're the one who brought them to America. You're the one who put them in public schools. You're the one who exposed them to all of that filth happening. You'll be held responsible. But on the other hand, you were able to act as a shield. You will be able to educate them Islamically and let them understand why they're here, what they're supposed to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them a reason for you to be saved in the hereafter.